So welcome to our August meeting. And first item is to introduce and welcome our new members. We are full. Yay! I am very happy to introduce the two folks that are joining us, Lamar and Michael. And remind me, Michael, is it Michael or Mike?
Either one's fine with me.
Okay. And I thought if you could do a quick introduction, and I thought then we could also do, Joe and Craig and I, we could do a quick introduction. So just everybody gets to know each other. We tend to be a more informal committee than some of the others, but I think we get a lot of stuff done. So you know, Bob can speak up on that, but I think you're going to enjoy your time here. So Lamar, since you're sitting next to me, you want to do a real short, quick introduction?
My name is Lamar Williams, and new to the team. I was on the planning commission up until yesterday, which was my last meeting there. I'm a longtime IT business analyst, project manager, program manager. I'm trying to move up in the ranks to director now. Yeah, I do a lot of process, a lot of IT initiatives, infrastructure, software engineering. I don't do the coding, I do the herding of cats. So I've been exposed to a lot of technology over my career, immersed nose deep into all things electronic and delivery based.
Beautiful. Great. And Mike?
Hey, I am the director of technology at the University of Pittsburgh. I have been doing that for a long time. Just about anything that is involved in that involves technology, I'm associated with. My specialty, though, is in supporting instruction that applies to teaching and learning. And I will say it's a pleasure to be working with all of you folks now. Thank you for this opportunity.
Absolutely.
Mike has the job I want. I want to go up to be you, Mike.
So my background is, and these guys know it, is I was with IBM for 34 years and retired about 2.5 years ago. No, actually, yeah, longer than, 2.5 years ago now. I led multiple software sales organizations, depending on, did both worldwide, did global roles, was involved in when we first put the cloud team together, did a lot of stuff with SaaS as well as the on-prem kind of things. So I was a coder way back in the day, but don't want me doing any of that anymore. So not anymore. So it's been, to me, I've really enjoyed the last couple of years having an opportunity to work with this team in the town and help set direction as to where I think we can go and we can try and help folks. So that is my background. And Joe?
Joe Byerly. I own a IT consulting firm. Mainly, we do soup to nuts outsourced IT departments for small to mid-sized business.
Mm-hmm. And Craig?
Craig Schenker. I'm a security solutions engineer, mostly focusing now on cloud stuff. It's kind of migrated over the past 2 years towards AWS and Azure. Small consulting firm, hop around, do whatever people ask.
He is our favorite security expert. Make sure that we always think about that as we're pulling stuff together. All right, great. So we are now a full team of 5, which is a good thing. Next item on the agenda was to review and approve the meeting notes from last time. Melinda's got a couple copies. Mike, do you have a copy? If not, we will send you a copy and start getting you up to date on all the minutes that we've done.
I'm not sure that I do, so if someone could send them along, that would be nice.
Great. Will do. They're also all up on the website. Aren't they on the town's website too?
Not until after we approve.
After we approve them. Got it. So any updates or changes to the minutes from the last meeting? Bob, Angela, anything? To me, they looked good.
Yep.
All right, minutes are approved. And then we've got just a few things. I forgot to say we needed to have on here the articles that we're doing for the McMail. But anyway, Bob, any update? I know you said you were talking to the school
I met with the superintendent today on a litany of items,
Yeah.
but did not discuss the cable channel agreement. I thought it probably didn't make a lot of sense to do that until they fill that Rich Platt's role
Yeah,
there. So I'll follow up with her
okay,
on that in a couple of weeks.
all right.
So,
So we don't have it to do, just for background information. We are now, is if you have seen that we are now broadcasting town council meetings on North Allegheny's channel. What we do not have yet is an agreement between the two organizations. And we have agreed in principle that we will provide them with some funding. But until the fellow that we're working with was their head of IT, Rich Platts, who has left North Allegheny and gone to a different organization. So really, until they fill that role, there's not anybody to talk through. The ball was in their court in order to come back to us with a sample contract. They're looking for money from us. We have what we need from them for the time being. So it'd be nice to get this all wrapped up, but honestly, until we have somebody on the other side to work with, it's kind of hard to get that done.
yeah, and in addition to Rich leaving the IT department, I know I don't have the title right, but their business manager also left.
Oh, really?
So,
Oh, she's in trouble.
so she has her hands full just trying to fill some key slots, and
Yeah,
in the scheme of things, this is not probably high on her list.
no,
right now.
probably not. Have we been able to get, has John been able to get the equipment that he's looking for yet?
He's, I think it's all ordered. We're just waiting for it to come in.
Okay. Because that was part of this as well, is making sure that John had the right camera equipment and the rest of it for us to be doing, collecting more videos and the rest of that. Did we get anything? Are you gonna want to do anything based upon the night out that was last night and some of the other stuff that's coming up? Did we capture any video or?
We
photos or-
actually captured some small snippets of video.
Okay,
Not overly high quality, just with what we had available.
great.
Actually, our IT guy, Andy Budaki from PM, brought his drone
Oh,
last night. So we actually got some good aerial video and shots from
Okay.
the drone. So we'll add that to the mix of things that we have.
okay.
So we made do with what we had available to us, but and had a nice variety of images
Oh, good.
from the event.
Great. Good. Well, because with the September 11th coming up, which will be here before we know it, it'd be nice to probably combine some of that and do something fun on the website, YouTube channel, and, maybe broadcast it by then. Hopefully Nash will have, or North Allegheny will have the right team members. Right, anything else on the PEG channel? Any other comments, questions? Okey-doke. Moving on. The next item was the enterprise software update, and we were chatting a bit about the call today before we started. I think our view is that Edmunds is an option. Not quite sure they put their best foot forward today. Craig, you didn't miss anything if you didn't get a chance to dial in for any of that. It was very long, 3 hours, 3+ hours.
It was 3.
Yeah. Yeah, and we didn't even do tax. So, yeah, it was long. And then we have Freedom when is Freedom Systems?
Weston Anderson just got back to me from Tyler today, so I will be sending out a invitation for August 17th,
Okay, so Tyler's August 17th.
and then Freedom is August 24th.
do we have, it's August 24th. I have the 24th on. Do we have a response from them, from Tyler?
No.
Would you ask him to please pull something together as a
We-
response? So we've got something to work from.
We've done that. So today
You already did that. You're always 2 steps ahead of me. of course
we
you are.
actually went above Weston
Okay,
with some connections that Tricia had.
okay,
So they understand that we want the RFI response. And they're already working on it.
okay, good. So Lamar and Mike, what we did is instead of issuing an official RFP, because we are looking at changing out the entire enterprise suite over time, we went with initial RFI with the key functions and things that we wanted to see, which is what drove the meeting then today.
Was this their official meet? This was their official.
It was.
Uh,
It was their
Dog and
official,
Pony?
yes, it's their official dog and pony show, their demo. Yeah,
Okay,
I know. Yeah,
so the RFP.
it was an RFI.
that
That's
they
what you
sent?
said. Yeah,
That I,
This-
that I looked at was not, it didn't kind of give me a full, okay, here's the things that it didn't give me a needs assessment and needs met type of feel.
it didn't. And what we decided, because to put together a full, we wanted to start getting input, from the vendors. So that's why we didn't initially do an RFP. But
Okay.
what they had in here, and Mike, when you see it, was basically our RFI, was the overall requirements, and we'll make sure you guys have copies of this as well.
Okay,
Because we sat down with Tricia and with RJ, with everybody to try and get their requirements, what they would want to see in a package. And we're initially focusing on the financials and tax.
which
And
is all hand
HR?
to mouth.
Right, yeah, and then we'll pick up what RJ wants with Tracer, some other things to add to it.
Was today's session recorded?
No,
No.
because they ran it. It was not recorded.
It might be something you want to
That's a good
enforce
point.
and tell them anytime you're gonna do a dog and pony, make sure we record it so we can have it, and that way we can digest it for.
We may want to be the ones initiating the.
Yeah,
Oh.
so that we can control it.
Okay.
So,
Yeah,
so that's really what kind of where we've been on this. It's gonna be a big project. The list of of vendors is frankly pretty short.
what's the budget
We,
or limit?
we were planning on about 200.
It's the number,
200,
200.
210,
Yeah.
somewhere in there. Was our hope, and that was based on some numbers that we had gotten through some general conversation. Some of the, no, I shouldn't say some, one of the vendors, Melinda and I talked with them, we told them what the budget was, and we were talking with them a little bit, and what were they, around $500,000 or 600,000?
Just for
That's-
some modules.
That makes sense.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
that's about the number I was expecting to hear.
this may be a well, it's already gonna be a multi-year project, but it may take us a bit longer than we expected.
Is there a priority list on, like, what are the most important modules that we would want to have in a system like this?
The finance and
Mhm.
tax are the
That's why
priorities.
we started with it,
Okay.
finance and
Kinda
tax.
figured that.
Yeah.
The other areas are, I think, much more functional. And I think we could make an easy move if we needed to a Tracer's a cloud-based system that handles almost anything like planning related, building related, public works, asset management. So that would almost be the back half of everything that we were looking for. And probably a much more economical package that we could.
What's it
Work.
called again?
Tracer, TRAISR. Developed by-
TRSAIR, I think.
TRAISR.
ASER. Okay, SR, that's, I
No
keep
E?
flipping the
No
two.
E.
I keep flipping the two.
And was developed by McMahon Engineering.
That's one that RJ likes a lot. Today, you heard Tricia mention a couple of them, Give AccuFund, which is not, and things are not integrated at all. There's a lot of spreadsheets, there's a lot of rekeying of data, there is just, it's very labor intensive.
And
they
it
have
sounds as if with Edmunds, a lot of the things that we were hoping to be able to automate would still be handled the same way. Through spreadsheets that you would either, reporting would turn into spreadsheets that you would download, upload back and forth. So we're manipulating data and then throwing it back into the system. So it isn't what we had hoped to be able to accomplish.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
What is the hope?
Well, I think
If you had unlimited funds, what would you get?
I'm not even gonna say it that way. With unlimited funds, our hope is simply to be able to take a single package or some combination of packages where we don't have to do a lot of recreation of documents or of information. We currently have a business privilege tax software and a real estate tax software. So we're creating a report balancing out those items, but then we have to key or re-enter information into AccuFund, make sure all of that's balanced. We're duplicating a lot of work right now that we don't believe we would have to ultimately. And it's,
Yeah, because the same thing would be somebody comes in to get a building permit
yeah,
and RJ's department has to take the fund and then they enter it in their system and then it goes to finance and finance
Re-enters
again.
it.
And
Yeah.
vice versa.
Yeah.
If a payment gets made to the front, sometimes
We-
building doesn't know that it got paid because it's in a completely
We-
different system.
we're in a position that we can't even create a CSV file of some sort and upload information. We're literally,
They're literally rekeying
Do we use QuickBooks or anything like that?
AccuFund.
AccuFund.
That's the,
It's a-
okay.
Yeah,
My wife is a tax accountant and she uses QuickBooks for everything.
Yeah.
I know it exports to a lot of different things. I'm just chewing the.
sometimes that
Sure,
would make more sense.
Yes.
I don't know how many modules come with it that you could then link to other things.
There's a
with
lot,
QuickBooks,
but-
pretty standard, accounting,
Well, and
finance,
that's-
tax.
I think we knew pretty early on in this that we weren't going to be able to get one software vendor that did everything they wanted to do, or one software vendor to do everything that they wanted to do at a price that's reasonable.
Oh, a reasonable price is probably
No,
not.
but
Unless you work on nonprofit platforms and things like that, they usually, or educational, I don't know.
there are, I mean, even the ARC, the GIS stuff, and now, I mean, kind of coming into this, the whole thing was a scattered mess to some degree.
Mhm.
They had two versions. They had an on-premise and a cloud version of the ARC software.
On premise.
Well,
Yeah.
interestingly enough, with ARC, because ARC GIS is really geared towards much bigger organizations. So,
That can be a good thing.
well, the integrations, there's more integrations with ARC with you controlling it yourself versus their cloud. So not that there's no integrations to the ARC cloud, but and again, it's on premise, but it could be in a data center that they have control. But that ARC seems to be the central point where kind of all these systems might ultimately link up together.
Mhm. But housing your own data center is a whole separate nightmare, right?
Yeah.
Yes and no.
I mean, it's fine until the hardware starts to, you know, age.
It's been, I think we did, when we brought in last year, a year ago, PM Consulting, they've done a nice job of really getting all the technical spec, all the equipment up to spec.
Oh.
So, you know, I think what the servers we have are in much better shape than they were. And the security and what we've got here in-house is much better than it was when we started 2 years ago. And I think we're pleased with PM. They've been doing a good job from a consulting perspective on it. So that was our first premise, is to get that piece, because the vast majority of what we have is all in-house.
Mhm.
I mean, we have some cloud stuff, you know, but most of it's here. So obviously over time, it'd be nice to, as we do new things,
Yeah.
to not have it here for that very reason. That we won't
You don't have DR and you don't have any of the migration issues. and
exactly,
legacy mod stuff.
exactly.
Yeah.
You know, but it's a small organization, and right now that seems to all be going fine. We're actually doing backups and making sure they work, and
Oh, nice.
not
Okay, that's
that
good
we
to hear.
weren't doing that before.
Okay, okay.
So there's progress on that side.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So other questions kind of on this, for especially for you and Mike, you know, any other questions as to where we've been, where we're going, what the focus here was with this?
Yeah, so what are the main goals right now is to upgrade the financial and tax situation on how we do things for the town. What other goals do we have as a committee?
I mean, that's been the biggest right now. We've been focused primarily internally, and then as we have other, you know, things have come up, but given the budget that we've been focused on from a big project, that's been getting our house in order here and helping guide and focus, because there isn't anybody, Bob doesn't have anybody on his staff
Mm.
that does IT.
Is there anybody doing research on the, you know, the different types of packages that, like, who found Freedom and Edmonds and
Trish knew that some of it, and that's where some of it's stuff that we
Yeah.
do as well, is
You know, the staff is making the committee aware of different packages that we're familiar with, we're looking ourselves, talking back and forth a lot. I mean, I think one thing I think Marcy's being very humble about on the committee's behalf is that they've taken a lot of time to get to know the needs of our organizations. They sat down with all the department heads to understand where the problems lied, where what the needs would be moving forward, looking ahead to what we would want to accomplish down the road. You know, the three, I'll say, original members, you know, Marcy, Joe, and Craig, you know, have put a lot of time and effort in, you know, Craig focusing a lot on the security ends of things. And we've looked at a lot of systems, and you know, we're conveying a lot of information back and forth. And I would say casually talking back and forth with those things. So we're, you know, our focus has been on those packages of enterprise systems that we felt had enough meat, enough ability to handle the majority of what we were looking for, and that we knew to be well established in the municipal realm and reliable. And we've come at this with you know, all those of us that have moved into the town operation. You know, we're bringing that knowledge. You know, what did you use? Did you like it? Didn't you like it? So we're looking at those types of areas, and like even the one that I was used to using was really great, but it doesn't offer enough for us. You know, if we were billing for sewer or garbage or something like that, it would be great, but we're doing taxes, and that adds a dimension that a lot of communities don't have to worry about.
Well, I think we had a document somewhere along the way that they probably need to see with what was there, about 12 or 15 different vendors on it, and the ones that did or didn't submit returns on the RFI, and
Yeah.
some of the ones that got disqualified before it even got to that point because they right out of the gate said
They
couldn't
just
do it.
weren't this initial focus,
Right.
you know, our focus
Right.
area. So we'll get you all that
Do
information.
we have a Google Drive or somewhere where these documents live?
We do. We haven't used it. I mean, it's just been like 3 of you.
Yeah, but we have a
We do.
SharePoint.
The SharePoint.
And
And you've got most of that
folder.
stuff loaded out there, right?
Except for more recent.
Yeah.
Because it seems like after the last change, there was a few glitches.
Okay.
So we'll work through those and get everything up,
Yeah.
and then make sure that the two of you are,
I've already done that. though.
you've done that.
I've already gotten Andy to
Okay,
add the 2 new members.
okay.
Great. And then once we get the finance and the tax chosen, another big area that we would like to be looking at besides the other miscellaneous software is our website, which is not very good. But until we have, you know, decided that the decision was made to do this core functionality first and then work through what we can do. You know, what's the right thing for the website? Is it something that we, you know, whichever vendor we choose, do they have something? Do we continue to use what we have and read? Because it just needs to be redone. It just needs to be redone. Between that and Savvy Citizen and all these other miscellaneous, you know, we have all these piece parts of
Yeah.
stuff, and we're not a large enough organization, honestly, to manage all of that. It needs to be simple for the
What
community.
platform is Town of McAllis?
It is,
Civic Plus.
Civic
thank you,
Plus.
Civic Plus. An old
It's
version of
It's
Civic.
the old
It's the-
CMS version, not the kind of newer
Yeah.
WordPress kind of version.
Okay.
But there's only, the funny thing is like, there are only like 2 or 3 website vendors for municipalities at this point because Civic Plus keeps buying
Buying out.
all the other ones.
Oh,
So a lot of the adjoining, you'll see, if you look around the
If you-
adjoining communities,
mhm.
almost all of them have Civic Plus at the
And-
bottom of it.
And most times you won't even have to go to the bottom of the page
Yep.
to see it. You'll know, after a few of them, you'll know whether it's a Civic Plus site or not.
Wow.
They just look so
It just,
similar.
yeah, you can tell. from
And
it.
you'll know if it's the new or the old
Yeah.
based on,
Okay.
Who posts the content to the website?
John.
John,
John Bajarski, our communications assistant.
yeah, he posts all the content on it.
And therein lies the problem is it's hard to find the content on the website because of the template.
Yeah. So that is definitely on our list.
Craig had a pretty good extensive write.
Oh, I had a great write-up of it. And we'll get you all these things that we've been going back and forth. We've also been involved with traffic lights, looking at some of what we can potentially do there. There's been discussion about cameras in the parks that we may very well get involved with. Adding additional Wi-Fi availability. A lot of it's going to depend on what money we have access to from that. So
Body cams for the police.
yes, the body cams is another
They
big
don't
one.
have them now?
No, they do
No.
not. Yeah. So there is not a shortage of things that we can get involved in. there's just a wee bit shortage of cash. So we've been really specific about
Mm.
prioritizing.
To manage the cash, you need that finance.
We do, if we.
Well,
if we-
how many beans you have,
Right, if we can get our own internal house a little bit more in order and then also free up staff time. To do other projects and other things. So that's been our focus. Any other questions on this? The other area that is on here is we have been writing articles. So Craig, your article is ready to go. I saw this month's McMail was quite full. Can we get his article that he did into September?
Yeah,
That's on the ransomware. And then you've got one you're going to be doing for October for Security Month, correct?
Correct.
And then we'll give it a break for a little bit and then we'll see what next comes on that. All right, those were the things on the agenda. Bob and Angela, has there been anything else that's come up with council? Any other funding projects, the other
the
committees?
the town has submitted 2 grant applications for body cameras.
Right,
So we're in the process of, waiting on those to see what happens. With the stimulus money, would be my intent regardless of the grant funding that we would move ahead with the body cameras
okay,
in terms of a priority purchase
okay,
on the police side of things. We're going to talk internally about the cameras at Vestal Park. We've been trying to get pricing on some of the traffic cameras.
mhm,
The problem isn't so much getting the pricing. We can do that. The problem is that the people we'd like to be able to use because they have all of their authorizations for through the DA's office to tie into the state traffic
mhm.
licensing system.
This is for the police body cam?
For the, well,
No.
this would be for traffic signals.
Traffic,
Traffic, oh,
we
sorry.
do not
Yeah.
have we have infrared cameras on our traffic signals. We do not have.
So those big cannons they're infrared.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
They're not tied into a police monitoring system at all?
Nope.
What's the infrared do?
the infrared is sensors for the controllers.
Traffic, okay.
They
They're
control-
in place of,
They
pressure
take
plate.
place at the pressure place.
Yep.
wow.
See, you learn a lot of things in
Yeah,
this.
yeah. I always wondered about that because I'm like, when you come up to an intersection, I'm primarily at Peoples and McKnight. And I was wondering how those, I'm like, it must be under, because usually you see the giant
Yeah.
carve outs
Right.
where
Yeah.
the pressure
Yep.
plates are, and they're not there. And I've always
No,
noticed that and was wondering, I'm like, these traffic lights are obviously managed. I just don't know.
Yeah, that's.
I always thought those were cameras just for
Yeah, for like, yeah.
surveillance
License plate
cameras. Yeah.
What's the system called? Because now it's escaping my mind. I know we talked about.
Yeah, I know, we talked about it at length.
Did talk about it at length. Okay, sir, that sounds
No.
familiar, but
Something like that. I don't think it's that, but I think it's something similar.
So is it?
It's adaptive based on
It's a-
Yeah.
traffic. But basically those cameras see and it adapts to allegedly.
It's
It's
supposed-
like, no, they do. They-
Yeah.
At least most of
It-
them do,
Until they break. and
they're-
then it's-
Okay.
they're adaptive from the county line, the northern county line into Ross.
yeah.
They're supposedly in sync.
On McKnight 19.
Yes.
Yes.
On Red Lobster, like
From Red
all
Lobster
the way
Lobster.
to,
to Brush or the county line.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's escaping me too now, whatever that road is. Freeport Road.
Yeah.
That's what that is. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, because Cranberry takes care of.
Marshall.
Cranberry
takes
doesn't take care, don't they take care of Pine too?
They take care of Warrendale
No.
Bay. and
Warrendale.
Brush Creek for the industrial park, and then the last one.
Yeah, so
Okay.
it goes as far north as the Pine.
As to, as
That
through
makes
Pine.
sense.
Yeah.
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 Right over there.
Let's see if I could.
It's gonna drive me crazy.
I'm looking, I know, I'm looking back through all my, I found the traffic signals. Anyway, but anywho, that's, we don't have real cameras on those.
Okay.
Yeah, we do not. So that'll be, when do you think you'll know about the grants? Any idea?
I would think that we would hear within 6 to 8 weeks.
Okay. So that would take us, we're beginning of August, so end of September, mid.
Yeah, the first grant went in almost a month ago.
Rhythm and. Speed.
Rhythm system.
Thank you, that's it. Yes,
We have a grant for rhythm system?
No, that's the-
Rhythm system is the traffic.
That's the traffic.
that's the
adaptive
traffic
system.
control.
Gotcha.
The other one, the deadline is the 31st of August, so we wouldn't hear until probably November 1st.
So if it went in a month ago, so it went in beginning of July,
maybe
so
September.
by mid-September,
Yeah.
we should know the first grant.
Yeah.
And then the second grant has got in August,
Forgive me, this is a grant for
the body
This
cameras,
is- yeah,
body cameras. Thank you.
August, September. So that would be an end of October, beginning of November.
And all that stuff's probably under the chip shortage.
Yeah,
Could well be.
probably is. Okay, I'm just trying to think of timing because we've got the enterprise software stuff we're doing now. When do you think you're gonna, would want to get started on looking more at body cams and?
I don't know that there's going to be a whole lot we need to do on the body cams. It may just be a review of the systems themselves, because we're trying to, we can go through state contracts, so the purchase won't be
So, okay, so that'll be easy.
problematic.
And you get the same, when we looked at it, it was the same
Same.
The
thing.
same as the ones that are in the vehicle.
Yeah, that's,
It's one system and
Yeah.
there's, I don't
it
remember.
was just a matter of upgrading
Right.
the server, the storage.
Yeah, so I was gonna say that's a storage is what
Yeah.
I'm,
Because we'll need 30 days worth of video storage on the
okay.
How many cameras?
The grant is for 29.
And it ties to the, how many, what are there, 15?
15,
15 vehicles.
yeah.
And the grant includes storage upgrades?
Yes.
What kind of, what are we talking about, terabytes?
Yeah.
Yeah.
For that.
It's cheap these days, but. I'm just
Yeah, it's
curious.
just a matter
Cloud, maybe? Cloud's
Well-
not reliable, but, I mean,
of, ultimately, I want to get to that. We're looking at in-house initially, but we
Yeah.
may,
maybe in-house first and then the,
yeah.
And then move stuff.
or, well, I guess you could probably do, if it was possible, do cloud immediately and then instead of reversed.
Yeah.
Maybe that makes sense.
It
Maybe your
might.
archive is on
It might.
premises.
And that's probably the things where we can help when we get to
Yeah.
that point, is looking at some of the pros and cons of some of the
See what
options.
everybody else is doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. All right, anything else, Bob or Angela, that you've, yeah, what about the stimulus money? When do you think that's coming down?
It's, we,
We have it?
yeah, we have the first tranche. of it.
Okay,
So
okay.
we deposited 1,450,000, I think July 1st.
Okay.
It came in.
Okay.
What are the requirements for?
Um,
Money,
the,
it's always got strength.
yes,
It's got a lot of
it does have strings. We would be intending to use it to offset revenue losses that we can identify that we incurred. Then
So it's
that meets the federal requirement.
Mhm.
And then
Is that businesses? Is that businesses as well, or just like schools and churches?
this is just municipalities, this money. We'll end up with 2.9 million, slightly above 2.9 million over 2
Police lost
years.
wages and
It's,
city works and things like that.
yeah, it can be used for water, sewer, storm sewer or work, broadband,
Mhm.
infrastructure. Then there are some business related purposes that we could, if we were going to create a program for helping businesses or first responders, I think. But like in our case, our first responders are fire, well, police especially, didn't lose wages
Okay.
during the time of the pandemic, and the CARES money that we received during 2020 paid us back for a lot of the police wages. Where we altered schedules around so we could try to keep the police a little bit safer. And so that sort of reimbursed us for that downtime that
Mhm.
was created there. But in this case, what our intent would be that we would show the revenue loss, amend the budget accordingly to show that coming back in, and then show regular types of expenditures from there, because we'll have met the federal requirement through the revenue loss, and then we'll just use the money as we normally would a budgeted expense. The strings come when you're trying to build the infrastructure with it, the money.
So nothing else that's on the near-term horizon that you can think that you want us, anything to start looking into for you?
If we wanted to look at what a full-blown website update would cost us, so we could budget for 2022, that might be a possibility immediately. The other thing that we're just looking at from a practical standpoint, we're just looking at the overall expense that we are incurring with PM.
Yeah. talk about
And,
that.
talking about whether or not, at what point in time it makes possible sense to have somebody on staff. I don't know that I'm ready for that because I don't know where I'd actually put them physically in the building.
Mhm.
Don't just snatch a Google kid and hire him to work on it in his spare time remotely.
It would just be a contract,
You know?
contract employee or
Yeah.
something. Yeah. So that's what's in my head right now.
Okay. Does somebody want to take the to-do of taking a look at what it would take to, budget for the update for the website? Initial you? We want to try and stay with Civic Plus.
I mean, you could probably ballpark tell you 20 or 30 grand if you say it was Civic Plus,
Yeah.
based on what's in the papers from other municipalities and everything else.
I facetiously say that any module with Civic Plus, it doesn't matter what it is, whether it's the website, whether it's their
Mhm.
civic HR or their civic rec program. If we're going to go that way, it's going to cost $25,000 because it always seems to fall into that numbers or somewhere close to that number. So anytime I think of Civic Plus, I think $25,000.
Well, if
And
that's the case, and you want to squeeze out as much value as you can to get in that 25 grand.
yeah, absolutely.
Well, and there was that the other, I don't remember the name, but there was the other company that had some pretty nice websites too.
Yeah, I can't remember the name of the company, but I want to say I have to look it up. I think it's Athens, Tennessee,
Yeah,
that
Yeah.
yes.
that's the community where I saw the website that I
Yeah.
liked it. So I always go to their
Uh,
website and then I
See what they're
see
doing.
what the name was of the company and then I look the company up.
But I would imagine they also know how much Civic Plus charges, and they probably also,
And it's fun. I don't know if I mentioned this, but when they were looking at website redesign here, that company was actually the low price. And then this group that we ended up going with matched the price. And they liked the service a little bit better with these people. And that's how we ended up there. So, and then I think before it was even the ink wet or dry on the contract, Civic Plus
Bottom.
bought them out.
floor is probably 10 grand.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And
You can't
I mean,
probably sneeze and
yeah.
not spend 10
yeah, I
grand.
mean.
Oh, yeah.
And it's,
The thing that I think gets me on Civic Plus is I think their ongoing price, if I remember right, is pretty substantial.
it's, well,
For the-
several years ago was $7,000 or $8,000.
Right, to host a website
Yeah.
that doesn't cost them more than probably $20 a month to host
Yeah.
in reality.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think that's the real savings. You're gonna pay 20, 30 grand to redesign the website pretty much wherever you go, but the ongoing contract is probably where you save, where you have options.
Well,
Which they
and-
probably have a library of 1,000, wireframes, and they're gonna have their crux guy just spend a week and then that's it, And the
And
rest is just.
by and large, it's us that does all of the work for them.
Content.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's all the work. It
Yeah.
isn't anything.
I mean, you're just
Inside
putting the
the frame.
content in the wireframe, and that's it, and then.
Yeah.
One thing we might want to consider is just going with straight up WordPress. You can buy a template for pretty cheap, anywhere from 20 to a couple $100. Find some decent WordPress hosting and it would be much cheaper than what we're paying now.
That's true.
I think the key in it, in my mind, is the organization of the site, more so than who hosts it or who doesn't. We need to sort out how we're going to organize it because, we inevitably, and me included, hey, we need to post something on the website. So we're cluttering up that front page. And if we're not cluttering up that front page, we're burying it somewhere that makes it very hard to find.
But you have SharePoint now, right? Did I hear?
We have SharePoint through Office
Through Office
365.
365.
There's web development through that. I mean, it's pretty basic. I mean,
Yeah.
if you already have it, maybe your yield is already low on that one.
Mm.
Maybe you already have the tools you need.
Mm.
And you just need a couple contractor hours to plug it in, and then it's just somebody who can just do the content. That's your shoestring budget,
Yeah.
So options.
I'm open to most anything. I just I'm of the opinion that the website, it's going to reflect how the person's mind works that is developing the content and putting the content up. So we need to sort out how we're going to,
The best way
Direct
is
them.
the best way is you find the other ones that you like and you kind of.
And you just
follow that.
Anyway,
borrow. Mhm.
Yeah. Maybe that's the first step. And I do it occasionally is I just will see the name of the community and go to the website and see what I think of it. And then I make some notes. I like this one. I don't like that.
Right.
maybe that could be, we spend an hour looking at, we all come together and maybe do some little bit of research and
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think
we
that,
can all just look at some municipal websites and see what we like.
We've done some of it.
Yeah.
So, but
and I
you
think-
guys can now add to this.
Yeah. And the one thing that I would do to encourage you, and the original members have heard this before, don't look in Western Pennsylvania at the auctions.
Look out
Look
elsewhere.
outside, either in Eastern PA or outside the state. Because there's a different mindset and people are thinking, I think, a little more proactively outside of Western Pennsylvania.
And if we do something with a website, I'd really love to get rid of Savvy Citizen and put something that's a little more user friendly, kind of
There's gotta
similar.
be an app for that.
And I would argue, and I think Craig had the same argument of why in the Canvas and me or whatever, you have two websites. It
Yes.
doesn't
Yes.
make any sense.
I was gonna get, that was gonna be my next one is.
And the Savvy Citizen is like $2,500 a year. Is that right, Bob?
About,
Yeah,
That could free up a little bit to go towards something better.
sure,
With the McCandless and me is 1,500.
it's more than that, but I can't remember the number.
yeah, but so we've got three things out there that would be nice, and we've got, website that's just not organized correctly. It would be great to just combine it all together, so it's simple. We've got one place for people to go. And you can sign up for your alerts there, you can do all the, rest of this kind of stuff. So, ideally, that's what I'd like to see.
Right.
All right, so as an action from that, I think, Joe, from your initial, if you want budgeting numbers, it's probably 30 grand to
Yeah, I mean,
redo,
like-
and then we can work down from, if you want a budget number, it's probably 30 grand, and then, as you said,
Yeah, there's options to work.
it's 7 or 8 grand,
Craig's option, I mean,
and then we
there's-
start bringing it down.
Okay.
From there. If we are combining, there may be some more work than just putting up a simple website. If we want the functionality of Savvy Citizen, and the McCandless and me, pull that all together. So that's probably,
What version of Savvy Citizen? Is there capabilities that we may have? Like, is there a list of capabilities that Savvy Citizen has? that we-
There's a few, but
There's not
it
much.
isn't, it wouldn't take the place of the
Right.
website. It isn't that functional.
it's just sending out notification primarily, right?
Yeah, primarily.
Calendar
There's the
notification.
Calendar
calendar.
notifications. That's what I usually see, yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, Google Calendar does that, but
I would, to me, that for roughly the same amount of money per year, doing away with Savvy Citizen and putting out or having a contract with a company like Swift Reach, where it's essentially a reverse 911 system where we can get phone messages out to the community about issues that are going on, I think would be a lot more effective.
what was our townwide response with Savvy Citizen during the tornado, wind shear, hurricane event? Nothing went out?
Oh, yeah.
Did it?
Mhm.
Didn't
Yeah,
hit
we-
me.
It didn't hit me either. Or I didn't notice. I don't.
Or
Or
I
it
didn't.
was posted, I know we posted
The
things.
app is degraded in notifications because I very infrequently see anything pop up anymore too.
Right.
Yeah, it's just
I mean,
not.
that to me would be,
But you're
is
right.
a prime example of okay, the following streets are closed, because of
Well,
down power line, blah, blah,
yeah,
blah.
I mean, and in my mind, a package like Swift Reach is more effective because we can target phone calls with that
How about it?
much more effectively.
I can take the action of seeing if there's a better solution than Savvy Citizen.
That'd be, yeah,
I'll do that.
that'd be awesome.
And there's a lot of packages that are part of a website.
Yeah, that they would do
Development.
similar type function, to Savvy Citizen, depending upon what we wanted for the website. I mean, I think that would be great, Lamar, if you and Mike, whatever 2 cents you have on this, this is gonna be our next big thing, I think, as far as what we can do with it, because it's not getting better. Savvy Citizen, I tend to see things all at once and then I see nothing.
For months.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And I'm signed up for a lot of things.
And I was gonna say, there are things that go out daily, if not weekly, with meetings or different notices that we send out.
Well, you're hearing that they're not all,
Yeah, some,
they're not getting where necessarily they should be, or we're not signed up for the right stuff. There should be
Well,
something in there.
I
but-
think there's certain things that you get, like Amber Alert style,
Oh, yeah.
when the power fails or when there's a townwide event that impacts a weather event or a flooding event or, Lord forbid, anything bad happens, like a school shooting or something like that. What are we supposed to be doing?
Yeah.
On my phone, like, oh, did you know that there's a tree down right near, at the corner of your house and your neighbor's house? Like,
Right.
Oh, I need to go home.
Yeah.
Call somebody or something.
Or I'm
What
headed
do you
out that way. Do not go down Duncan Avenue today.
Exactly,
Do
exactly.
Avoid at all costs.
It
Yeah.
sounded pretty good at the beginning, and it's MSA, so it was a local company.
mhm.
And it is
It's
It is-
better than nothing.
It is
Better than
nice to
nothing,
see, I mean, I think the theory was that everybody around here was gonna have it, and you could pull it up and see Franklin Park and
Yeah.
all the other municipalities, and there are some that are using it.
Marshall,
Richland,
Richland, yeah, Bellevue is.
And we should,
Those are the ones that I
want
can
whatever
remember.
system we go with, I'd want to see it on, you type in town of McCandless. It should be, want to stay up to date, like here, and then registration, blah, blah, blah.
I mean, I think pushing text messages when there's a problem
Yeah.
is, when the school district does it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's
I mean,
way-
Yeah, blizzard, fire, storm, whatever.
Because, and we were sending out notices when we had the distraught gentleman who was in the woods for several days.
Those I saw, but I think I got it more off of Facebook than I
And
did.
yeah, and I can't remember off the top of
Yeah,
my
Yeah,
head
they were
that's
coming
a
off of
good one.
Facebook.
Right.
where we were posting. I tell John, get something out. And, then John
Yeah,
takes care of it from there, but.
right.
But we're trying to get word out, but there again, we're putting out to Facebook, or we putting out to Citizen, or we putting, what do we
Well,
want to do?
yeah, the social media thing.
Yeah,
It's
you have
Facebook, Twitter, and then, whatever else.
Instagram. Okay. So maybe what we should do then is, and I know Craig, you've already done a ton of work on this. We'll go back through, and I'll go back through some of our notes that we had and try and consolidate what all we've pulled together. But it is time to start, which excites me. That's a good thing, to start doing things externally, not just internally, as to what we can do with the website. Sound good? Great. Give me a week, give me a few days and I'll get that out and kind of put together a plan. And then if we can just all kind of work together on that, that'd be good. And this would be something that you'd want to kick off sometime in 22, right? Depending upon, is this budget for this budget cycle or next budget cycle? This budget.
Yes. budget.
Okay, I just wanted to
Yeah.
confirm. Okay, so we kick it off in 22. All right, good. Anything else? Those were. Okay,
I guess I just would have a question. I know I sat through the interviews, but are there things Mike or Lamar that you would hope to focus on, or you want to learn a little bit more about what we've been doing and build off of that?
What is, my first thought was, what is what would you say our biggest strength is from a technology standpoint in McCandless? What do
we
we
have
like more right
strengths
now?
now. We didn't 2 years ago.
I mean, we have a website. I mean, compared to other towns our size, we've got a lot going on. I mean,
Yeah.
Capture, there's a lot here, but
I think we have a lot going on, and Marcy's right. We're in a much better position than we were 2 years ago. I think that we have maybe the strength is that we have good people in place who can work to get information out. We have to make it a little easier for them to do that. We have to, just like the enterprise software, we need to stop duplicating efforts. We need to be now more focused and effective in getting communication out to people. And I'm starting to look at technology at something beyond just computers and IT, but technology in general. Another area that we want to look at in the 2022 budget is voice over IP
Oh, that's right. We talked
for
about
the to replace the phone system. We may as well use technology that's been around for 10 years or so.
Avaya.
But it's time to update the system, and we may as well.
Are we talking like Cisco, just full?
I'm open. I'm open to any ideas, but
I mean,
It might be a little too much fun.
I'm just,
Start with the roles and work backwards.
we're not going to be in a position from a staff standpoint where we're going to add numbers of people.
Okay.
So we have to find ways to become more efficient in what we do. And that the only way that we're going to do that is through technology.
Mhm.
Self-sustaining, low maintenance.
Have a bunch of robots going around.
I'm good with that.
PDDs, personal delivery device.
Yeah, that's coming. That's coming.
Yeah, we know about that. Do you want us to do anything on the voice over IP stuff at this point?
If anybody has suggestions of
Vendors,
systems of
systems
vendors
and
that
vendors?
are good or worth looking at, then that's a great starting point.
Okay. I don't, but besides Cisco. But you guys probably do.
So some infrastructure guys, we can ask around.
I mean, jokingly, Avaya is the only one I can think of off the top of my head. So
Now, there's been quite a few. It's just whether they're, especially in the last 20 years, but it's whether or not they can. I guess they'd have some questions. Have to do an RO or
Yeah. Even RFI or, I mean, but even we can just start narrowing the field down some form, any of our 2 cents input would be good.
we need to know what they need to replace.
What do we have today? old stuff.
We can, yeah, it's old. We can take a quick look at it.
Yeah, I don't want to know specifics on how many, phones you'll replace, what your switching looks like, whether or not you're just gonna set up a do, I don't know how you're gonna manage that. Who's our communications
Alpha?
specialist or who's our
Yeah,
networking guy?
company called Alpha.
Alpha?
Right?
Basically, probably just have bots lines from Verizon
Yeah,
That's what I think what we got.
Hmm.
It's all Verizon.
or Consolidated.
It's
Verizon.
Verizon.
it's Verizon.
That I remember when we took the tours around. It's all Verizon. It's downstairs.
In the forensic lab.
Yes, it is. It's where it is. Okay. So add one more thing.
Can I ask a question about the website and social media?
Absolutely.
How, have you recently asked or surveyed the residents? Is that something that you have done or typically do? Or is that something you prefer not to do?
Craig did that informally, did a great job informally with his neighbors.
See if I, we'll
So
get
that-
you that, yeah.
Now, if you'd like, and I don't know that we have enough of a reach with it, but if we wanted to create
We do something
a
on
project on McCandless and Me, it's interactive and we could have some back and forth with what works and what doesn't work on the website.
What's McCandless in me?
It's essentially a website within the website, but it's geared towards public engagement. So there are, you can build a forum, mapping is an element of it that people could pin problem areas, say, whether it's litter or whatever, drop a picture with a pin for us to interact. So it is a back and forth capability with.
And is it manned and, quickly responded to?
Yeah,
Mhm. I'm sending you. Craig, I found your note, so I'll forward it on to them.
Cool, thank you.
Yep.
but that, Mike, that's what I'd like to be able to do, is I'd like to be able to get some public input so that when we're doing this, that we address some of the issues that public sees. I mean, my attitude about the website is it's the first impression that McCandless is going to leave with people, because it's the place that people are going to go to find out about McCandless.
Do we have a town photographer?
Joe.
Joe?
Or not Joe, John. John, why I say John?
John,
John.
it handles a lot of that and what sort of overflows Sandy does,
Yeah.
Sandra does.
Sandy and who?
John Bajarski.
Bajarski. I misspoke.
If you want the straightforward basic shot, John's your guy. He'll figure it out. If you are looking for something that probably will look a little more creative, Sandy's the one that will be looking at that.
Have I know I mentioned this a while ago. I never followed up on it. If you looked into getting an intern from LaRoche for their
I'll
communications,
admit I have not, and I still need to do that.
because that might be something to free up some of John's, give him some more bandwidth that we don't really have to pay for. Since LaRoche does have a communications major,
Oh, okay.
I double checked, they do.
Okay.
So that might be some more thing, and they might, getting somebody from there, just like with the interns, you've got, something good with social media and help kind of sort through some of the stuff. That would be good to pick. if we could get the communications major, current communications major, and pick their brain a bit about, strategy and that kind of stuff might not be a bad idea.
One thought I had when we were talking about, you mentioned that the website's kind of like the first public face, of, internet base or whatever. The first thing that came to mind is like having a really good iconic photo of something in McCandless. And maybe it's something that, either town council or whatever could say, okay, when you think of McCandless, or maybe we survey the public, you think of McCandless, what's the thing, what image pops to mind when you say, I'm in McCandless? Or like, if you saw that in some random movie, you go, the heck, that's McCandless,
Yeah.
What would it be? And then stick the Lotion, turn on and say, all right, pick a date, it's nice, go up there and I want some knockout photos, and we put that on the website.
It's funny. I was in the middle of a conversation with some people yesterday and had that very same thought about if we started asking people, what is the one thing that identifies McCandless as McCandless?
What did they say?
No,
And what would they
that
say?
was the question that came to
Okay.
mind as we were talking about marketing the town and
I know what mine is.
What is yours?
The stand, the little platform in the middle of the lake that sticks out, there's a little stone.
Oh,
column that
on
sits
North
there.
Park, but that's North Park. That's Allegheny County. That's not McCandless.
That's in McCandless.
it's in McCandless.
Oh, is it in
Yeah,
McCandless?
it's in McCandless.
That's McCandless. Everything until Whole Foods is McCandless
Yeah.
as far as I'm concerned, but yeah, that's what I think of.
Okay.
When I go, I know where that is. Like, you could take a picture of any Sheets or Target or, building and not know where that's located, but that's
But that's
a
unique.
one of a place shot or, that everybody has seen because you go, oh, okay. Oh, look, there's North Park. Maybe there's some other, maybe we should
Yeah.
survey, find out what people think.
Maybe we're getting to, and I think what we're maybe talking around is maybe it is getting to be time to kick off a project on McCandless and me and publicize it and,
On Savvy Citizen.
it's, but no, I mean, it's because we keep talking around, through some of this stuff.
Yeah.
And, given some of the other priorities, I just asked for your input as to when you'd like to do that. And if we do this, do we need to fill out an official form or whatever to go in front of council to have them approve it, or?
If we're gonna do a project like that on
McCandless and me?
McCandless and I wouldn't worry about it, and then because we
We can just go ahead.
set those up
Okay,
from a staffing standpoint, and then when we are getting a little more into the idea of the website, we would want to do a project.
okay, yeah, that one.
I
we
mean,
would-
you could do the project form now, and incorporate the McCandless and me project into that, but we can wait a little bit longer.
Okay. Because I would think the website would be more of a project, the enterprise software, we're providing guidance, it's not really a net new project.
Right.
The website redesign and looking at that would be, I think,
Yeah.
if I understand, all that, it would be a real project. Angela, you agree?
Yes, I agree with that. And I just want to make sure, I'm just trying to think through like what the EAC does when they get to this sort of stuff. And typically when we really like to see them do a project form is when they're going to start talking to people outside of the organization.
Yeah.
Just to make sure that everybody's on the same page. So I think that as long as this remains internal, you're fine. But once it starts to get to the point where you're looking for quotes and things like that, then it would require a little working with council at that point.
Yeah, I just want to make sure we've got the right timing, that everybody agrees with the timing and when we want to move forward with this, is kind of my thoughts. So we're in August. What do you think from a timeline perspective, Bob?
Well, you gave me the budget number already, so that's one key
I think that's probably a good enough number. I mean, we could look into it.
Yeah, I mean, without, but with, I mean, basically, if it's just you go to people and say, I want to redesign the website, they're gonna be like, what do you want to do?
Right, and we don't.
And then, so I mean, I think the rough 30 is probably high. There's cheaper ways to do it, but
We have a good site map and functionalities list of.
no.
which-
No,
That's the first step.
I think that's the fundamental problem
Okay.
is
Yeah.
the site map is
Yeah.
difficult to navigate, so. But I mean, again, I think you're preparing the budget for next year,
Right.
so you need to kind of start putting numbers in, but not necessarily doing.
Right. I think from a timing standpoint, we can do some initial legwork and actually, you guys could work with staff. We could develop a project for McCandless and me to start getting some feedback, some thoughts from the community. And then in the meantime, if we can get a little bit of background on with the phone systems, and that gives us one other budget number that we
Okay.
need.
right, so there's a little sense of urgency on the phone systems, budget numbers, and at least looking, because we can do some research as to
Yeah,
who are
if-
other
if we
vendors.
know who the good vendors are to work with, then.
Yeah, give you some guidance on them.
Yeah,
We can do that. So if we could all kind of take a look through. That'd be great. Okay. Because what I'm thinking is then the budget coming up now. We don't have another new project on McCandless and me coming, do you? We've done the
Mm-mm.
deer, we did chickens, we've done,
no, we won't have another one.
What happened with the dogs?
Part
There
of
was
it.
the issue with the woman that had a whole bunch of dogs.
We did make some changes to the dog ordinance.
yeah.
Okay, what? do you recall what was that? Just curious.
Had to do with it under a nuisance.
Yeah,
I was pushing hard for that on
Yeah.
the planning commission. to,
Yeah,
you know, make it a
so
nuisance
we
thing,
amended
that
the
a
nuisance provisions.
sanitary
Yeah.
conditions issue.
Yeah.
Then you should be covered legally and.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So That's
Okay,
the
that's
direction
what I
that we went.
That's awesome.
Well, when would you want to kick off a McCandless? I'm just again trying to figure out timing so that when would
We
you
could
want?
we could probably take a half hour, put our heads together with what a project might look like, and then
Okay,
I can let staff loose on some ideas that we could run past you.
yeah,
I have a project vision template, well, there's just pumped to.
yeah. Oh, we have the project, but this is for just the McCandless and me. We don't need an official project, do we?
I don't think so.
Not for McCandless and me.
No.
It's when we start we take all that and then necessarily go to the website, and go externally.
Yeah, I mean, it's important for us to keep traffic coming back to that site anyhow, so we like to try to come up with ideas of, things where we can engage the public a little bit, some back and forth.
That's what I was thinking too, because we hadn't done one
Yeah.
in a
we haven't
while.
done
It's-
one.
It's time to do. And
I
this
mean,
could be-
we're still updating the deer because there's a lot of questions that come up, so that's an ongoing.
yeah, but not a new
Um,
one, just
but-
again, to
but we
drive some
need a
more,
new- Yeah. we need
drive
a
some
new
more
one.
traffic.
Yeah.
Website.
I see there was a survey in the chicken project. Were there lots of responses to that survey?
Not
No.
through McCandless and me. Not nearly as much as we would have liked. But, we try to make people aware that it's there as a tool. And so anytime that we're updating something on there, we're also posting to Facebook or.
What about
That
all the schools, CCAC, La Roche, the school district? Do we does that get copied to them to say the North Allegheny superintendent and the whoever the communications person is at Roche at
No,
TCAC, so
honestly,
that you can
it's
say, all right,
an
let's
idea.
give it out to, can you post this on your internal website and link them to our stuff so that they can
Yeah, that's a good idea.
see it in their
Yeah.
whatever newsletters they have.
Yeah,
Maybe
It's a good
That's a
idea.
good MO to get it wider to, you know, to get the young
Especially if
people
this-
involved, that kind of metastasizes. you know,
right.
And the parents get it, like, oh, I saw that at school. Did you know they're voting on the chicken thing? I want a chicken. You can't have a chicken. See the ordinance.
Yeah.
No, you can't have a chicken.
You need 50 feet.
But now I know about it, so we'll talk this.
Yeah.
Town council might kill us.
Do you have access to the traffic data on the current website? Do you know what pages?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, we do.
and I don't know the numbers, but we,
It's reported each
yeah,
month in your
I
manager.
copy it, paste it into my report. Do you think I'd read it?
But it's there every
It's
month.
there.
I do look
No,
through it. I see
I
it.
look through it when I'm putting it together. So we do, in my monthly report that's posted during the second meeting of each month, then all of the communication statistics are noted.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Sure.
All right, so Bob, you'll schedule, get some folks together. Do you want me to schedule, you scheduling?
I'll schedule.
Okay, a half an hour brainstorming, see how we take this to the next level. Anything else?
Yeah, this was gonna be a quick meeting.
Yeah, well, but here's the thing is we get into discussions
Yeah.
on stuff.
I just won't shut it.
No, it's on
No,
good, Lamar.
that's-
It's on, you're
No,
bringing up
it's-
some good
it's good.
things. No, don't apologize. You kidding? This is what we're here for.
We're still gonna meet the goal that we started of having them done by 8 PM.
Oh, yeah, we rarely go. We got 5 more minutes. So do I have a motion to adjourn tonight?
Motion to adjourn.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
All right, we would say we are adjourned for the evening. Thanks, everyone. And again, welcome to Lamar and Mike.
Thank you. Nice meeting you guys.
You think?
Have a good night.
See ya.
Everybody,
See ya.
good to meet you all.